Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. Today is the first day in over 30 years that I have spent. Well, I've slept on my own, but I've never known that that's it. I'm on my own. Obviously, people have been away for weekends and things like that, but this was the first night that in over 30 years that I have not lived with somebody. Whether that somebody be my child or my soul kids or a husband or a partner uh, or roommate or my parents. In a video I did not so long ago, I talked a little bit more about some ancient history, many moons ago when I was in my 20s. Those that didn't watch that video, I'll just do just a mini quick recap. I was rehoused in my teenage years because the situation with my parents became untenable, and I moved in directly from my living with my parents to living with a boyfriend at age 17, 18, and went to finish high school in a different town. And we got married, my insistence, because that's what you do, right? If you're living with a guy, you're supposed to get married. And I wanted to follow all the appropriate protocols, and I wanted to nail that down, lock and load and seal and deliver and all of those kinds of things, because my codependency programming said that I needed somebody. So I went from multiple jumps around in my very early years, being adopted, going through foster care, back and forth, finally being adopted, jumping into a relationship, getting married at the age of 20, which is all kinds of cuckoo. But of course, when you're 20, you think you know it all, right? I did. The older I get, the more I know not. And then my marriage broke down in my second year of university. So I did 2 years of college and 2.5 years of college. And then I went off and did university. I started a university double major in psychology and anthropology. But in the middle of that, my marriage completely disintegrated. Like, I was not happy in it. I don't really think that he was happy in it, but it wasn't like horrific, or I don't have any like horrible tales to tell. But I sabotaged my way out of that relationship because I didn't know how to unplug. I think it was the codependency curse is the video. Actually, go check out that video if you haven't watched it. Ending the codependency curse, because I plugged in from parents, and then I plugged into husband number one. And then I didn't know where to plug. When the marriage disintegrated, I was in my second year of university that I proceeded to really flunk. Like, I did bad. I did real bad in my second year because being unplugged from anyone to codependently attach myself to, I spun out. So this is about age 22, and that would probably be the worst year of drinking I've ever had in my entire life. When it comes to drinking, I would never have called myself an alcoholic. By no means. I would have called myself a heavy duty partier, and binge drinking was my jam. Go out and party hard, dance on the tables, and sometimes throw a table or two. Get yourself kicked out of a nightclub, all those kinds of fun activities. But that year, I was flunking out of uni. I was so emotionally distraught because I was like, oh my God, I have nowhere to plug. Drink. I gotta numb this pain. I gotta go find myself a new partner. I gotta this, that, and the other. So that was the last time that I was alone, is the point that I'm getting to in this long-winded story. And that was age 22. And I am now 52. Since then, it's been 30 years solid of living with boyfriends, living with roommates, living with my child, living with my soul kids. And last night was the first night because they flew the coop yesterday. Of course, they still have some kind of stuff to come and clean up, but they're gone. They're moved in. They're somewhere else. And I am officially individuated. Dun, dun, dun. I am officially individuated, and the codependency curse is broken. So I'm like, okay, I don't need to plug into anyone. I am safe on my own. This is what I've been working on and healing for the last, 3 years, 4 years. And as all my dysfunctional relationships have like disintegrated one after another, it has forced me to spend time in solitude. Spirit had said to me, get into the fucking penalty box, enough of your nonsense, and you're done. Like, okay, I come. I hear you. So the mission has been master solitude, master being alone without feeling lonely, get to know myself, take care of myself, learn to love the fuck out of myself. That's what the mission has been since the beginning of the You movement. And so I wanted to talk about the process of individuating self, because when I was 22, I did a really bad job of that. And the reason is because although I never called myself an alcoholic, I was certainly addicted to people. And that's what codependency is to me, is it's a people addiction. And you can't say that it's not a chemical dependency, because your brain has chemistry, and your brain, when programmed by a narcissist, becomes chemically hijacked, and you become dependent upon the very person that is causing you harm. This is enmeshment. If you don't know what enmeshment is, it's like the boundaries between yourself and another person become completely disintegrated, and they lock into you, and you become a people pleaser to satisfy their needs, and they suck from you all their energy and project onto you all their shadow. And it's all kinds of fucked up, because a healthy parent's goal is to provide their kids with the necessary tools and strategies so that they can individuate and fly the coop and go be a human that is interdependent or independent without neediness. But because of their own neediness, they keep hooked into you throughout your entire life. So even though you may not live in the same house as them anymore, they may still make 1,000,001 demands on you. Like, you need to phone every single day. Yes, I had to do that, which was crazy. The last few years of my mother's life before she decided to say the most hurtful things on the planet, it was my obligation to call her every day and to do whatever she needed and be at her beck and call. And, she would project all her nasty onto me, and I'd stonewall, and I'd pretend that everything's fine, and I'd put on weight as a means to protect and shield myself, and she'd suck from me what she could. It felt like there was a TV show a good few years ago that I liked called True Blood. I don't know if anyone ever watched that. I wouldn't be able to watch it now. It's a little too violent since the Kundalini, but I used to like violent shows. Why? Because my brain was chemically hijacked. So that to me was relaxation. Murder mysteries and it was relaxation. Now I'm learning what relaxation is, but that's a side note. In the show, the main character was dating. She was like a fairy, and she was dating a vampire. And at some stage, he'd feed off of her, and it was like she'd give her arm, and and then she'd be like, no, that's enough now. Okay, that's all you get. That's all you get today. Enough for you. And that's what it was like with my mother. It was like I would every day pick up the phone and call, and it was like, okay, here's your lunch. Have at it. Okay, gotta go. Bye. I amend that, and then wait till that healed up, and then the next day hand over the other arm. And because of the degree of enmeshment and the programming of enmeshment, I went through my life, as I've said in many, many videos, pre-programmed to plug in to other people. So learning to free myself from the ultimate addiction, which is, I couldn't have seen this a million years ago. I graduated in college from Native Community Worker Addictions Program. It was almost like Soul was saying to me, yo, you got a little bit of an addiction problem. And I was like, oh, do I? I'm going to go try every single addiction out there. Well, I didn't try every single addiction because, some of those were a little too scary even for me. But yeah, I tried them on for size to mask, because I'd be like, smoking socially acceptable, drinking socially acceptable, binge drinking for my generation was socially acceptable. I don't think it is for my son's generation. They look down upon that kind of thing. And I'm like, you guys are so much smarter than we were. And, promiscuousness was socially acceptable. The sex addiction was socially acceptable. There were a lot of socially acceptable addictions, work addiction, as long as you weren't in the gutter and, selling your soul, then you were considered to be kind of socially acceptable, And codependency is what lies underneath, I think, for a lot of people, the ultimate addiction, because you're not seeking any chemical thing outside of yourself. It's your own brain chemistry. Your own brain chemistry craves the dopamine that is provided when somebody gives you all that comfort and care and bats their eyelashes and breadcrumbs you and love bombs you. It's like, oh yeah, let me feast on that. Oh fuck, love bomb. That shit to fucking taste good. And then and then it goes away, and then you're like, oh my god, cortisol, and so you're like going between these highs and lows, and that's what gets you addicted into an addiction cycle. That's what gets you hooked into narcissistic abuse. That's what gets you stuck in a cycle of people addiction. And I was the queen of people addiction. So I was. And for the last 3 years, I've been processing through and doing the shadow work and doing the inner child work and taking a long, hard look at my patterning as I grieved. Oh my God, the grief. So much grief. This whole twin flame situationship comes along, which activates this awakening ascension path that makes you take a long, hard look at your bullshit, and it calls it out. The Kundalini is like, I'm not taking no more nonsense from you. I'm, all this masking and all this, padding and dulling and numbing and denying. I'm going to shine a light right on it, and you're going to see it, and you're like, no, I don't want to. Oh my God, I don't want to change. I like the way I am. So Kundalini came along and was just battering me from the inside out. Especially for me, core wound for me was heart wounds. And along this journey, it's been crazy. It's been crazy learning to one after another let go of people. It's like weaning yourself off of like the worst addiction ever. And obviously there were certain strains, okay? There were certain strains that were harder to wean off than others. When my best friend of 25 years left, that particular strain, I was particularly addicted to that one. And that's when my PTSD symptoms started, is after she walked out of my life, and I never heard or seen from her again. I don't even know if she exists. Maybe she's left the Matrix. I sometimes wonder, is it like that show that Jim Carrey was in where, it was all make-believe and he figured it out and went across the river and escaped? It's like she's left. She's no longer cast on the earth plane. No idea. And that's okay, I guess. Oh, the Truman Show. So that was triggered my first round of detox. detox, of going through detox. Now, anybody that knows anything about detox, when you go off alcohol, you go through the DTs, you get the shakes, you get the headaches, you get the like uncomfortable. When you go through a cigarette withdrawal, you go through detox. Your body starts and that's why you hit cravings, right? When your body is detoxing, whatever it is you're detoxing, whether it be an internal chemical addiction, like that dopamine that you get from a toxic partner, or a substance, you have to detoxify the system before you can clear the addiction and be like, oh, I don't need that anymore. And so it normally takes, according to theory, 28 days. That's why the addiction centers all have 28-day programs. But people are all unique. You can't say all people are 28 days and then an addiction is cured. What I've discovered, weirdly, through all of this is sometimes years later, you'll have a craving that comes out of nowhere because a certain emotion will be triggered. I was craving cigarettes last month and I hadn't smoked in 5 years. I'm like, this is really weird. This is very weird. And hey, it took some major power to not knock on my neighbor's door because they both smoke and say, yo, could I have a cigarette? I was very tempted. But I didn't do that. I was like, okay, I've learned new skills. The skills are breathe through it. Feel it. Go into the shadow. What is coming up for me? And what is coming up for me now is another milder round of people addiction, because I've gone through the worst of it. The worst of it was losing my mother next, because that was the root of all. So that particular strain, we'll call that strain, I don't know, we'll give it one of those funky names that they give marijuana. Those are fun names. I can't think of it right now. The devil's lettuce. We'll give it that strain, because she was definitely in cahoots with the devil. That was very difficult to withdraw from. My PTSD got worse when I cut my mother off, because my whole life, what I wanted a normal relationship with mother. I wanted to take care of my parents in their old age. I wanted to be a mother-daughter kind of relationship that I would see on television or see amongst my friends, and I'd be like, why can't I have that? But when it got to the point where my boundaries were crossed so much, it got to the tipping point, which is evolve or die. If I didn't change and if I didn't erect some healthy boundaries, I would have died. That's how bad it was getting. It was spiritual warfare coming in from the very person who I relied upon as being, my support. And so when the people who are supposed to support you and love you and care about you betray you and hurt you and abuse you, that's some serious spiritual warfare bullshit. I don't talk a lot about spiritual warfare on my channel, but maybe I should, because I know a lot of people are going through it. Now, when I speak about spiritual warfare, I'm not talking about devils and demons coming up. Although negative energies is a thing, most certainly. And you can even have psychic warfare from somebody else. If, a family member or a friend or an ex-lover is sitting there conjuring up images of, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. They're sending you bad juju, right? So that's a form of spiritual warfare. So when my mother said to me, you are unlovable, you are making the biggest mistake in your life to ask for divorce, and nobody will ever love you. Just imagine thinking that for a second. Nobody will ever love you. Who says that to their fucking kid? Crazy. So at that point, I was like, evolve, which is hanging up the phone, or die. If I took any more mental and emotional abuse, I would have gone down a very dark, very bad path. Very, very dark path. And I didn't want to go down the dark path. I wanted to save myself, because I needed to be the one that stood up and said, no, enough of that. And throughout my journey, it's been about saying no. And so we have to say no to these addictions to people. And the third, of course, because everything happens in threes. The third, of course, the worst strain that we'll call Monster Munch. Monster Munch strain, being my ex-husband, created the worst withdrawal I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I mean months. 28 days, pff, fuck that. I'm talking years, okay? It takes years to regulate your brain chemistry that has been hijacked because somebody is going causing chaos, cortisol, and then dopamine. Oh. So I'm going to create the problem and I'm going to be the solution. I'm going to create the problem and I'm going to be the solution. And I'm going to create the problem. And see how dizzy making it is? Yeah, so it's no wonder that the brain gets all kinds of confused and like, and you become even more and more reliant on the person, which is exactly what they want. And so when you disengage from these types of relationships that are highly narcissistic, even to the point of sociopathic status, like this messing with somebody's mind consciously is fucked up shit. And when people do that kind of thing to you, your brain chemistry, it has been so badly dysregulated and hijacked. As I said, I'm going to keep using the word hijacked, okay? Because that's exactly what it is. And then this addictiveness to this cycle is created. It's like a Pavlovian response. I don't know if you know Pavlov's dog. He would ring a bell, and then the dog feed the dog dinner, and then the dog would salivate every time he heard the bell. So then he just had to ring the bell, and the dog would salivate whether there was food there or not, because he had learned bell means food. And so we learn when we're in a codependent, narcissistic, enmeshed relationship, ring the bell, people please, self-sacrifice, Greystone, accept it. And so to cope with the Pavlovian response, we create all these coping mechanisms like smoking, drinking, eating, putting on weight, control, micromanagement. We learn all these things to try to save ourselves in these environments, when what is needed to save ourselves is to escape from these environments, to escape from these types of situations and allow ourselves the time that is required to detox. So I've talked in a good few videos. I do have a narcissistic abuse playlist. Please check that out if it's something that you're dealing with, because a lot of us that are on the spiritual awakening path, I view this as an initiation, and many of us share this similar story of having to escape from this to learn to step into our personal power. So when we escape from these situations, Dr. Ramani often advises to give yourself at least a year to detoxify from these situations. She doesn't use the term to detoxify, but it's like recovery, right? And listen, I'm coming up to my 2nd year anniversary in September of no contact. And I'm still trying to regulate my nervous system. I'm talking about yesterday, I did a video on the cortisol flush, because as I said, when your brain chemistry has been hijacked for so long, you get a knee-jerk reaction. It becomes a pre-program, a default program. Stress happens, get cortisol. So it becomes a cycle that takes, even though the person that you are addicted to is gone, they leave with them this program that sets off these chemical reactions in your brain for a very long period of time. You go through periods of, like, it literally felt like I was like going through physical withdrawal. I felt at times so much cognitive dissonance, the pull that I felt to go back. But how am I going to survive without them? Who's going to take care of me? Who's going to love me? Am I going to be alone forever? So that, on top of the programming from my mother, was like, oh, it was bad. The withdrawal was real bad. And so I had to go through and spend the last 2 years grounding, 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 grounding. I can't tell you how much grounding work I did, healing every single day. And, it's taken a lot of time. You just have to give it time, so much time. As I said, coming up to that 2-year anniversary mark, still working on clearing the cortisol, because I'll be damned if I'm going to let the rest of my life be hijacked just because some fucker was fucked with themselves in their own childhood. Go deal with your own problem. I'm going to deal with healing myself so I can thrive. Okay? I can thrive. So here I am today, age 52. And this is my last tiny little cord of like being plugged into anyone. Now, being plugged into my soul kids wasn't so plugged in because, they had their own life and I had mine, but there were still people in my energy, and this is the first time in 30 years I have 0 people in my energy. I have my cat, me and Arwen. And it's like, whoa, this is like intense. So I woke up this morning. I did what I do, which is my breath work at the beginning of the morning, which is long, slow, soothing breath work. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Had a massive release and purge. The tears came. Good girl, let it out. You don't need that. Oh, yeah, baby, warrior. Encouraging myself through the release. And then I got up and got busy and got cleaning because, my God, my house looks like it's been trampled through by a bunch of elephants. Well, because it has. If anybody's ever moved out of a house, you know how much shit gets left behind. So I'm plugging away at cleaning, and I'm just like, I'm embarking on a brand new adventure now. This is it. This is me. This is me individuated. This is me sovereign. This is me learning to manage my own energy, to shield outside forces of energy that want to come in and maybe fuck with me a little bit. This is me learning to stand in my personal power. This is me not needing anybody anymore. No more addictions. I'm done with addictions. I am absolutely, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, washed the t-shirt, shrunk the t-shirt, ripped the t-shirt. I mean, like, that t-shirt's been well and truly worn. Let's toss the t-shirt and start all anew. And anew means learning to be in absolute authenticity as who I am, not reflected by anybody else. And I'm excited. I've got a bit more time where I am before I move, and I can hear a mower in the background that's kind of distracting me, which is always a nervousness when I come out to try to do a video. So I'm going to end this up because it's already been 27 minutes and just say to everybody out there, listen, time's up. We got to get rid of these nonsense people out of our lives, these little fuckers, and we got to stand in our power and say, enough, enough, enough fuckeries. This is enough. And the more we open ourselves, open our third eyes to this new level of awareness, when we start to see these people for who they are, we can realize the reason why they're plugged into us is because we are the power. We are the energy source. We are the lunch. And we say, no more lunch for you. You're on a diet. You're cut off. You're fucked out. Bye-bye. Get lost. I'm done. Boundaries. No more. So to anybody out there that is struggling with codependency, I'm here to support you on your journey. If you want to book a one-on-one with me to discuss some of the stuff that might be coming up for you in your relationships that have boundary issues, that are enmeshed, that have difficulties, and you're struggling with that, it does seem to be a theme at the present moment in time. You're not alone. A lot of people are facing the same energy of stuckness, trying to individuate themselves from these dysfunctional, toxic, hurtful, abusive relationships. Send me off an email to justbeing@gmail.com. That's JUST, the letter B, being@gmail.com, and set up a one-on-one with me today. Had a great one-on-one earlier today, and I look forward to meeting you and helping you get some tools and techniques and being a support net for for you as you withdraw from the mental fuckery. That all said, thank you very much for all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions. If you are interested in joining the Spiritual Warriors support group and you haven't already done that, please press the link in the description below. Join us on our Zoom meetings. You can join our Zoom meetings for $11.11. The first meeting is free. Wednesdays at 12 noon. Nope, sorry, that's wrong. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the North American group. And I'm starting a new group on Fridays at 12 p.m. so that the Europeans can join us. That's, depending on where you are, about 6 p.m. your time. And Fridays, that's our new meeting. So I will be having 2 Zoom meetings now for support group meetings to give you an opportunity to meet, to talk with others that are going through the same ascension. Maybe they too are facing individuating themselves from codependency, escaping from narcissism, and freeing ourselves from the bullshittery. And if you're going through other symptoms and ascension problems, that's an opportunity to talk to others because you are not alone on this journey. That all said, peace and